At least go
They hate their
outside.
job so much.
Said the bathrooms were plugged up. And it was pretty bizarre.
Roger and
Oh,
Larry
my.
coming?
Supposed to be.
It's early for
I
Larry.
guess I didn't call them,
Probably email
Find
us on
them.
days of meeting.
but Larry and Roger don't read their email.
Jen's had a cataract surgery on both eyes when we get back. So, and then,
There he is.
Boss,
Hey, Terry,
we got 4.
tell Randy I said to wash those windows.
I will do that. They have summer help again, so I can.
Oh, there you go.
Probably
There you go.
doing that.
It filters the sunlight coming in, doesn't it?
That is right.
whoa.
Boy, Roger's here.
Is this your first day?
Testing 1, 2.
He's been on the board as long as I've been married. I looked it up.
Really?
Because I had to, in order to get everybody reappointed, I had to write a little synopsis of why they should be on there. And Roger was up for reappointment, and it's like, oh my God, he's been on the board since 1984. 30 years.
How's
See,
the
now
corn
let's
growing
see.
now? This is important.
Yeah.
You see the corn down by Sun Prairie by my daughter's house, it's waist high already. It's unbelievable. And the soybeans are, but they got a lot of standing water down there.
And we were coming back on 10, from Appleton, and the corn's that high and the quack is about that high. It's so wet they can't get out to spray it, It's pathetic.
There's some good corn around here.
A little patch just north of town, past the doctor's office. That's a real nice patch of corn, and it's looking good. And we haven't had that much rain around here.
I have to read this to you. Any person other than the applicant wishing to speak before either committee must fill out a registration slip found outside either door. They can be turned into the committee prior to the start of the hearing. Please be sure to indicate on the slip which application you are interested in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't see that.
Larry doesn't come, I'll take notes, I think. Unless Mark wants to.
They're gonna build a new
Yeah, right.
That one's gonna go.
Yeah, the old one's coming down.
Could be.
Yeah.
House there or
Pretty
boathouse.
good. It's one of the
I think
nicest.
that's, I thought I saw something there. Under 5.
Just
Da-da-da-da-da.
expand
I have no
under number
comment.
6.
Oh, that's for the
We got
erosion barriers.
You got LCD working on 5.
Stormwater management is run.
Right.
That would be more of the park asphalt, wouldn't it?
No.
That's gutters and downspouts, rain gardens. I think you can just, if you wanted to add to that.
Will one of you take the minutes if
Mark, you
Larry's
think
not
you
here?
know how?
Sure. I'm flexible. What time is it?
It's time.
Just tip over one of your sheets of paper.
We'll figure it out. It can't be that hard.
You probably designed all those, didn't you?
Yeah, but I don't know what I had for breakfast today, Roger. I don't know what I designed 20 years ago.
good, but
No, we'll get her.
George, we never had short meetings like this when you were on the board.
We're not saying you were long-winded or anything, George.
Well, and we go first, too. That's got to be a first for a long
We
time.
put bags over our heads? We prettier then, or what?
I remember him telling me that they stayed till 2 o'clock one time.
He's
I
full
was
of-
here.
I was so late going home, I met myself coming back.
that was the night the cops followed me home.
Terry's husband was worried and came looking for him. That
Yeah,
night.
and then what did he do? He
He
Wait.
just whipped around in the highway shop, and then a cop thought he was a
followed
drunk.
him home. Thought he was a
Oh.
stalker or
The
something.
next thing I know, everybody's in my driveway.
That was a long meeting. They got their money's worth out of us that night.
Yeah, you did. You did.
I was there for Larry.
Oh, that was there. I'm sorry.
Isn't there just something on this new sheet about long meetings? Oh, no, full day.
Runs over
Oh,
midnight.
lasting 6 hours.
Huh?
If it lasts 6 hours, you get $75.
Our leader is ready here. So.
Ex-leader.
I'm just a peon.
Call this meeting of the Washera County Board of Adjustments to order. This meeting will begin with a public hearing. Anyone other than the applicant or their representative wishing to speak must register and submit the registration slip to the zoning administrator at this time. Following the public hearing, the board will conduct its monthly business meeting, in which time we will vote on the applications. You may stay for the meeting and hear how the applications are decided, or you may leave following the hearing. The applicant and the town board will be sent a copy of tonight's decision. Any other person wishing to receive a copy of a decision can sign the sheet at the front of the room, on the table here. Those of you wishing immediate knowledge of the outcome of these proceedings may call the county zoning office tomorrow morning. The procedure we will follow for hearing each application is, after the application is read, the applicant, their agent, or representative will have the opportunity to present their application, followed by any questions or comments from the board. Then all correspondence will be read. Then others in favor will have a chance to speak. Anyone objecting will then have a chance to speak. I will then ask for a summary of the board's field observations and any staff comments. Finally, the applicant will be allowed a chance for a brief rebuttal if they wish. Anyone wishing to speak should use the microphone at the front of the room, state their name, and direct their comments to the board. I ask that all testimony be kept brief, no more than 5 minutes, and to the point. If you are testifying as a nearby landowner, please tell us where your property is located relative to the subject property. Tonight's hearing will be recorded, and the recordings will become part of the record. Comments that are based on hearsay or secondhand information, as well as slanderous or prejudicial remarks, will be ruled out of order. The board has looked at the property, and the record will reflect these observations. Any person affected by an administrative decision of this board has 30 days from the filing of tonight's decision to make an appeal. Such appeals will be heard by the Washera County Circuit Court. Information is available from the Clerk of Court's office and qualified legal counsel. The county assumes no liability and makes no warranty as the legality of any construction commenced prior to the expiration of this 30-day period. Now I'll introduce the rest of the board. To my left are Mark Schumacher, Kevin Fitzgerald, John Benz. My name is Roger Wagner. Terry Dopp Paukstad, zoning administrator, is to my right. The first variance, the town of Coloma has made an application for a variance in accordance with sections 58-362, paragraph C, paragraph 4, 58-826, paragraph B, and 58-903, paragraph N, 3, and A of the Washera County Zoning Code to construct a 18 by 50 open park shelter with an adjacent 12 by 15 vault privy coming to within 21 feet of the ordinary high water mark of Pleasant Lake, 75-foot setback required, and to within 33 feet of the center line of Check Drive, 63-foot setback required. Proposed construction would result in land disturbance within 35 feet of the ordinary high water mark of Pleasant Lake outside the viewing corridor in the OP Park Recreational Zone within the shoreline area. Location lots 17, 18, and 19, block 3 of Miller's addition to Pleasant Lake Summer Resort Plat, and parcel between lots and water's edge being part of the government lot 4 and part of the northwest 1/4, southeast 1/4, section 33, town of Coloma, Pleasant Lake, W13427 Check Drive. The applicant or representative here? Yes. Would you come forward to the microphone, please?
Pull that mic down and talk into it. There you go. Good.
My name is Ron Selinsky. I'm on the town board of Coloma, supervisor number 2. We're here tonight to answer the questions on the park.
Okay, briefly, you want to tell us what the history was there? There was a home there that...
There's a house there, started out as a mineral shop, added on, so it was a 3-season house that was added on about 4 times. We bought it going on 5 years ago. We moved it. We had, from the conservation, Tom come over with Terry, and we looked at it. Because of the area, we could up and level the front down, because the building was gone. There's 2 septic tanks there that's got to go out yet. So the building was completely demolished, hauled away. And we cleaned up the lot, and now we made it a park out of it.
Okay. We've just got some general questions then for the record. Has there been a recent survey?
Yes,
You're sure of all the lot lines and the ordinary high water mark?
yes,
And you're sure of the road right-of-way?
yes.
Okay.
We had an archaeological study done on it for Indian graves. That passed also.
Okay. Have you talked to the highway department at all about this project?
Yes, I did. I had Tom Delkey come on and look at it.
Okay. And the DNR?
Yes,
You've done your homework then.
we've been on it for 5 years. We're trying to get the job, cover all the bases.
Okay. Have you been working with a planner from East Central Regional? Is that correct also?
Yes, Trish, no.
Going to be enough room there for parking for,
Yes, we stepped it off. There's enough room for 12 cars plus 1 handicap on an angle.
How many handicap?
1 handicap.
Is that state law? One per,
That's what we looked at. We can put 1 there, so that's what we came up with.
okay.
you want to describe what you're going to use for sanitary facilities? You're going to have running water there at all?
No.
Okay.
We got a privy coming in from Texas with a vault. It's going to be a concrete construction on top. For the ADA, will be enough room to turn around there with a wheelchair. It's 8 foot wide on the inside. And it's just going to have toilet into the vault.
How do you plan on dealing with stormwater runoff from the building?
We're looking at putting eave troughs and running to the end and dropping it down and put flowers down in the ground. The eave troughs will be into the ground. When it rains, we'll go in there. Plus, we're on pure sand, so it ain't going to run down to the Red Lake.
Is that for the 12 by 50 shelter too?
Yes,
Gutters and downspout?
that's what we're looking at.
You mentioned when we were on the on-site that you were gonna do pervious pavers
On the walkways, yes.
on the walkways?
Yes.
Not the parking?
No, the parking area we looked at because it's sand and the water does not come across the road. I was down in a rainstorm, the water does not cross the road because the road is higher than the property on the north side of the road.
Is the runoff from the parking lot going to cause a neighbor any problem?
No, because it's on the south side of the road.
Can you briefly describe what kind of building you're going to have? Just a shelter with a
Basically
roof?
a pole shed type, you know. with
Open sides?
Open sides. We got with the Lions Club and they're going to work with us on it to build it.
Okay.
So it's a universal building.
Can I just go back to that asphalt for the parking? You say it's not going to run across the backside, it's just going to run toward the lake?
Yes.
Are you worried about erosion problem with that much water with that, more impervious surface?
No, because it's pure sand. You can drop 1,000 gallon of water there and never make it to the lake.
You're kind of between a rock and a hard place there, but all other setbacks will be met.
So yes, we got nothing else we can do. There was a building there, so we tore the building down, and our footprint is going to be smaller than what the building that was there.
But the setback for the side lot for the privies, he'll be okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to make for the public record is when we were there at the on-site, you were there,
Yes.
and we talked about that there's an outdoor recreation plan for Waushara County, and that showed, I believe the latest outdoor recreation plan showed that there's a need for more parks and recreational land on the west end of Waushara County,
Well,
and that would fit
that
into,
fitted right into it. That's why
right.
when it come up for sale, we had a lot of discussion about buying it because we got access to the lake, about 4 different areas. One is straight downhill, the other one's all downhill, you know. For our age, to walk down the hill and back up is awful tough. So plus they were sitting right on highway on 4th Ave. There was no place to park there. So this come up, yeah, there was a lot of discussion. Why? On the town board, it was their lake. I'm sorry to say, the people on the lake looked at it, it was their lake, except when they needed something from the town. And you guys live around lakes. So when this piece of property come up for sale, there was a lot of discussion going on to get it. And we got it, and then we found out we could go for a stewardship grant. So we went and worked on that project, and we got that done. The stewardship grant paid us $108,000 back for the property, plus give us $50,000 of grant money for our privy and our other building.
And the last question I have, Ron, is the ownership doesn't have anything to do with variances, okay? And that's not part of this discussion, but is this park going to be continue to be owned and maintained by the township, or have you thought about turning it over and having it part of the county park system?
It was discussed, but it seems like the county park says, no, they don't want it.
Okay.
Point blank.
But you have discussed it.
It's been discussed. In fact, when we started looking at buying it, it was discussed.
Okay.
And the county park says, no, they want nothing involved with it. And I feel bad about it because we do pay into the county for the rest of the parks. But we was able to buy it and do it all on the township.
But there's been other town parks that have been developed, and then sometimes a year or two, or sometimes many, many years later, they eventually do come over. Coosa Lake is a good example, you know, and then Mara Lake is another one that were in the town park as a town park for many, many years, and then gradually conditions or factors changed, and they did come into those. So it's a possibility.
Oh, and it's a possibility for the simple reason that park is going to be there now forever.
Right.
None of us are going to be around.
Wasn't Little Hills Lake a county park and reverted back to the township now?
Is that what happened? Yeah.
Most of them are still owned by the township, and they're just
Yep.
leased to the county.
Yeah.
So, yep, that is what happened.
All right, thank you.
Ron, have you ever thought of revegetating the shoreline there?
The area that's non-swimmable is already down by the water. The rest is pure sand, and there's nothing you're going to put on pure sand unless you water it. And it's a beautiful sand beach.
But they don't swim there, so it could be revegetated.
Well, the area down, you notice down by the lake, where they didn't swim, there's vegetation right down there.
We're actually talking about from the ordinary high water mark back.
Back.
So in between the sand beach
And,
and
you know,
the shelter might be.
how are you going to keep kids out of it? You're going to have to fence it off and put it irrigation, because otherwise nothing's going to grow there.
Yeah, if you irrigate it for a year or two, you're usually okay after that.
And then you got to make sure no one goes on it.
Right. We did talk about having a split rail fence. I think
Yeah.
it's even in Trish's
Right.
recommendations.
But to keep the kids off of it, how are you going to do it? You know, that's why. I guess I look at the sand. It's there. It's a beautiful beach. Where they ain't going to swim. Vegetation comes out of the water to that point.
When we were there, you had a swimming area set off.
Yes.
You gonna keep that set-aside swimming area, or you gonna make the whole thing beach?
No, basically what we're going to try to do is keep the area we got off right now.
So then you could revegetate the other part.
Yeah. Yes.
Ron, if an approval were granted, what is your timetable for construction and getting things going out there?
I got a privy that was supposed to come in on the 13th of June. I pushed it back to the 1st of August, and if I got to push it back farther than that. The privy's on the way to come, and then next year we'd go with the shelter.
Okay.
Because you got to take time to do it right.
So you'll probably have it all done by fall?
The privy will be set by fall. The privy will be set within a day, because they're going to come and set it. So that goes with that project. Then the rest we got to work on. The last thing is going to be is a parking lot.
Okay. Any other committee questions?
What kind of park rules are you gonna have there?
The same ones the county's got for the rest of the parks.
Who's gonna enforce the rules?
We're tied in with the village police department. They do 40 hours a month in the township.
Okay.
And if there's a problem, they call 911, and we adopted the same,
That guy there?
that guy there. Well, his photo share, when we were setting this up, Dave said, go with what's in the county. So if you come out, you deal with the rest of the parks, you know what to do there. That's why we went that route.
I got another question for you here on going through this page here.
Okay.
You got a maintenance shed and it's listed here a 10 by 80. That would be a misprint, I would presume.
That's right. No.
And also you have a dog waste station. Are you planning on letting dogs in the park?
Well, we can't keep the dogs out, but they got, what comes got to go out. That's why we got no trash containers, nothing there.
Why can't you keep dogs out?
Because the rest of the county parks in the same project.
How big's that holding tank gonna be on that privy?
1,000 gallon.
What about garbage?
There'll be no garbage down there.
Carry in, carry out, huh?
Carry in, carry out. I talked to Tom Dalkey. I'm lengthening it. That's why they pulled all their garbage containers at the waysides. Because on Monday morning, you couldn't put in and out on a 5-yard dump truck. They need 2 dump trucks. And if somebody wants to, we would rent a big truck to sit down there on Sunday afternoon, so when they go back, they can put all the garbage in the dump truck. Otherwise, you start with one garbage can, it's going to be full, plus the yards going around, it's going to be full.
Okay, sounds like you've given this a lot of thought and planning, so.
I hope so.
You're gonna have a chair, I guess. Any correspondence?
Yes, we have quite a few letters. The first we received yesterday from the Department of Natural Resources. It says, "Dear board members, I am writing to you to provide department comments regarding the variance request for the town of Coloma property that is to be heard before the Waushara County Board of Adjustment on June 26th. I appreciate that you provided me with the variance application materials for this request. I am providing these comments to you in place of making an appearance at the public hearing in person. Please have these comments delivered to and/or read before the committee or BOA. Town of Coloma property. The department understands the following facts. The applicant proposes to construct an 18 by 50 foot open park shelter with an adjacent 12 foot by 15 foot privy, and the shelter will be located within 21 feet of the ordinary high water mark of Pleasant Lake. The property is a substandard lot, 60 feet by 150 feet, or 0.28 acres, which was acquired by the town for the purpose of developing a park and public access to Pleasant Lake. The project includes the use of permeable pavers for runoff drainage control and native plantings in the vegetative buffer zone of the shoreline. Pleasant Lake has limited public access resources, and positive community support for the project has been presented in the variance application. The project is located within 75-foot ordinary high water mark setback of Section 58-826, Parent C of the Waushara County Zoning Code. Comments. The applicant must convincingly demonstrate that they are meeting the 3 required variance criteria for unnecessary hardship for area or use, hardships due to unique property limitations, and no harm to public interests. The proposed plan includes a number of mitigative features, such as the use of permeable pavers and native vegetation plantings along the shoreline that will help to offset the limitations caused by the small lot size for meeting the shoreline setback of the open-sided park shelter and the privy. In addition, the project would improve public access to the lake, and it has large community support and would be protective of the public interest. Given the weight of positive information regarding the variance criteria, the department would have no problem if the Board of Adjustment decides to grant this variance. Please note that these comments are in regard to shoreline zoning only and do not reflect applicable erosion control, waterway permitting, or other department regulations. Please contact me if you have any questions regarding these recommendations, and that's signed Sincerely Dale Razabek, Regional Shoreline Specialist, and that's R-E-Z-A-B-E-K.
Dale?
Dale. On June 24th, we received a letter from the Coloma Hotel. Dear members of the Zoning Board, we, Dennis and Susan Apps, support the development of the Coloma Town Park on Pleasant Lake because we see it as an asset to the community, We own the Coloma Hotel in Coloma, and Sue manages the Visit Coloma webpage. We get numerous inquiries about public places to swim in the area, both from residents and visitors. Prior to the park being built, there was access to the lake, but that access was not convenient for people with small children or the elderly. Now we can proudly tell them that there is a nice beach area on the lake, and it will soon have public restrooms and facilities. It has convenient parking and is easy to find. Pleasant Lake used to have 2 commercial businesses that provided people a place to gather and to use the lake. Now they are both gone. In hoping to bring back the spirit of camaraderie, we have placed a food trailer at the park to provide food and beverage and some supervision. We have been told by people who live near the lake that they greatly appreciate a place where they can now easily come and swim. We have directed visitors to the lake because it is the only free swimming available to anyone for miles. Yes, we support the development of the park so that all residents in Waushara County can use the beautiful waters of Pleasant Lake for swimming. Its development is important in giving all people in the area a place to enjoy a nice swim or picnic at the beach. And that's signed sincerely, Susan Apps.
I think it should be noted that they have a financial interest in the development of the park since they have a trailer there for concessions.
And on May 16th, we received a letter from the Village of Coloma to whom it may concern. The Village Board of the Village of Coloma would like to extend our complete support for the Town of Coloma's public beach at Pleasant Lake. The availability of such a recreational facility will be a huge plus to the residents of the village. Please feel free to contact us if any additional information becomes necessary. That's signed cordially, Steve Roger, Village President. R-O-D-G-E-R. And on National Exchange Bank and Trust letterhead, we have one from Karen Giese, G-I-E-S-E. To whom it may concern, the Town of Coloma is to be commended on all of their efforts to improve the Coloma Public Park, located on Pleasant Lake at W13427 Check Drive. I completely support the proposed construction of a shelter house and restroom. The addition would be of great benefit to the local residents and surrounding area. This facility would allow planning of family gatherings and events to commence and not have weather concerns. The Town of Coloma has provided a valuable asset to be enjoyed by all. Again, that's signed sincerely, Karen Giese. And then we had a petition filed that says the following members and guests of the Coloma Lions Club express their support of the variances being requested to allow the construction of a restroom and shelter building at the Coloma Township Park on the northeast bay of Pleasant Lake. And that has 32 signatures on it. I will read them if you want me to, but
We have it in our packet.
good. Thank you. And then there's a letter dated May 1st from Trish Now, the Principal Park and Recreation Planner for East Central Wisconsin Regional Planning, addressed to Mr. Ron Solinsky. On behalf of the East Central Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission, I support your proposed variance request for the Pleasant Lake Park property. The Commission's Year 2030 Regional Comprehensive Plan states through its vision for local parks and recreational facilities, the East Central region will work cooperatively to protect and preserve current parks, open space, recreational facilities, programs, and plan for new facilities while providing for and balancing the needs of various community groups with the needs of the general public in a financially responsible manner. By creating a park with added amenities in this area of the town, you will help to enhance the quality of life as well as create a gathering place for local town events that residents and visitors alike can enjoy. The benefits of parks are many: environmental protection, social shaping, economic increase, stormwater management, and increase of healthy attitudes, to name a few. We are facing a new era of defining what constitutes a park. No longer seen as simply grass and trees, parks provide a multitude of benefits to their users. In the past, parks brought an element of the country into the city. They provided relief from overcrowded housing conditions and congestion. They later evolved into recreation centers and facilities. These park functions all continue to have value today. Parks have begun to play a more integrated role in our urban environments. They provide formal and informal gathering places for building community. They help to positively influence property values. They give town dwellers a place to connect to the natural world. They make our areas more inviting for living, working, and relaxing. Thank you for taking on this challenge for the betterment of the town of Coloma. And again, that's signed Trish Now, from East Central. And last but not least, we have a letter dated May 3rd from the Pleasant Lake Management District, addressed to Mark Kirschner, Chair of the Coloma Town Board. At the Pleasant Lake Management District Board meeting of May 3rd, 2014, we received an update on the progress of the plans for improvements to the recently acquired lakeshore property by the town. Since the lake acquired this property on the north shore of Pleasant Lake, the board and property owners have been given regular updates on the town's plan, the progress of such plans, as well as numerous opportunities to provide comment and ideas. This most recent update included the plans for erecting a picnic shelter and the need for a variance from the county. This parcel has not only provided an additional access point to the lake, but has become an asset to the lake community and the nearby community as well. The plan for a picnic shelter will enhance this asset and provide users the opportunity to gather in all seasons and provide a gathering point for families and other local groups. Please accept this communication as our full support of this variance. We look forward to a favorable recommendation from the county. And that signed sincerely, Jean McCubbin, Chair of the Pleasant Lake Management District. That's M-A-C, capital C-U-B-B-I-N.
Jean.
Yep. And that's it for correspondence. No one registered.
Okay. The other two handsome gentlemen are not going to talk? You just brought them along for security or what?
They're buying beer on the way home.
Is that it?
Terry, we didn't get anything from the people across the street that refused to sign the petition? Okay.
Staff comments?
For the record, the board has previously been furnished with a copy of the site plan and all other pertinent data for this application. They also visited the property and viewed the proposal and checked out the flags on site. And again, I'd like to explain just a little bit about variances. They asked for a relaxation of a dimensional standard in the code. The decision to grant a variance must be backed by substantive reasons, which include an unnecessary hardship as being caused by the code requirement. There are unique limitations on the property that prevent the landowner from meeting the required dimensional standards, and if the variance is granted, no harm will be done to the public interest or the zoning code. It is the applicant's responsibility to present their case and provide that burden of proof as to why the variance should be granted. Those are the things that the DNR was referring to. When the board visited the property, they noted that the old home had been removed previously and that the remaining shed would also be removed. It was also noted that the lot is quite wide but is very shallow and that nothing could be built on the lot without a variance being considered and approved first. This one is a bit difficult for me, I guess, too, because it is asking to go very close to the road and to the water. However, if we compare this to what was there previously and what might have been approved had the town not purchased the property and the board was looking at the placement of a new home, I think this is definitely a preferable development. The area covered appears to be smaller than most standard dwellings that we have today. The public benefits greatly from the project, and mitigation items such as vegetative buffers and stormwater retention and treatment are being proposed. I believe the variance request standards have been met in this case. The lot is unique. The public interest is certainly benefited, and the code requirements are unnecessarily burdensome in this instance. And the applicant certainly has done everything in their power to come up with a plan and mitigation measures that fit the project to the parcel they are working with. As a matter of fact, I've met several times out there with Ron and other people, and the building started out quite a bit wider till I got them to narrow it up, and I think we've probably come to the point of diminishing returns. If you make it any narrower, it's not going to really benefit anybody. So that's it for my comments.
Okay, that will close the public hearing then. If there's no other questions from the rest of the board, we will close the public hearing and go into our business meeting for the evening. Roll call will show everyone present except Larry, and we don't know what happened to him on the way. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda as printed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. First order of business would be to vote on the application presented tonight. That would be the Town of Coloma